Welcome to the Filmsteins, the double feature podcast. Join us as we unravel the interwoven experience of the continuous conversation of cinema. Take part in pairing movies with their cursed counterparts, movies that share DNA, or even pairing questionable duos by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/filmsteins. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $5 tier will grant the ability to request films to further the discussion. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready to join the 100-year conversation. This is the Filmsteins, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmsteins. Thank you guys for joining us today. Today I am joined by my psycho friend, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
Remember, you can join us every Monday and Friday for brand new episodes of the Filmsteins over on all of our free feeds, and every other Wednesday on patreon.com/Filmsteins for Patreon exclusive episodes, like our recent Patreon exclusive episode, where we discussed the 1992 Aladdin and the 2019 live-action remake and what went wrong and why the live-action remake is better than the 1992 version. Some other recent episodes include The Prestige, Snowpiercer, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice. I didn't think about that. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon as well. Come subscribe for $1. Come request a movie. Go rate us on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys very much.
Are you stressed and filled with anxiety like I am? Maybe in a bit of pain from that car accident you had a few years ago? Well, the sponsor of today's episode, Hempville CBD, has us covered. They have the highest quality products created by chemists and doctors. Hempville carries everything from CBD to THC dispensary grade without those despicable dispensary prices. Order your Delta 8, 9 edibles and vapes along with the THCA flower and get free shipping when you spend $50 or more at hempvillecbd.com. Check out the link in the description for more details.
But today we will be talking about Eli Roth's 2024 film, Borderlands. This movie was supposed to come out like 10 years ago. Sure feels like it was supposed to come out 10 years ago. I have no idea what went wrong with this film. I have no idea why it's so bad. Well, I can tell you, I guess, why it's bad when I watch it. But who thought this was a good idea? Who thought these actors were right for the role? Outside of maybe Jack Black, he's kind of just a fun cartoon personality playing wacky characters. This movie is obviously an abomination. Everyone knows this. It's going to go down in history as probably one of the worst video game movies. We all know this, and truthfully, I don't have a lot to say about this, but I am very curious how you feel about this movie. Because you might be the only person on the planet who likes that recent Monster Hunter movie. Don't mean to put you on the spot, but I will say Monster Hunter might be a better movie. So I'm very, very curious how you feel about this nonsense.
Damn. Hot take. I kind of like this movie. I wanted to not like it along with everybody watching it, but I had a pretty good time watching this movie. I don't know a lot about Borderlands. Maybe 5% of Borderlands knowledge out there. That's what I know. I know it's a game. I think I briefly played it.
Yeah, you played some of Borderlands 3.
Okay. So I don't have a lot of the Easter egg fandom kind of thing going on here. Like I kind of did for Mario. That was fucking awesome, being able to be part of that. But I'm not too mad at this movie. I liked the introduction of the movie.
Did you like that meta acknowledgement of all these people being old? It was at the very beginning when Lilith was at the bar and she was telling her story, and someone was like, aren't you a little old to be a vault hunter or like mess with Pandora or whatever? And then she kills everybody.
I don't remember that specific interaction, but I do remember at the end of that when he's like, I need you to go get my daughter. She's like, you couldn't pay me enough to go back to Pandora. And then you hear the like Cash App sound, like ding ding, whatever. And then she's like, maybe you can.
It's kind of funny that you say that because money couldn't be more irrelevant to the game. You just get money and you spend money on ammo, which is extremely cheap relative to how much money you end up picking up, and you don't buy stuff in the game. So it was I thought that was a kind of a funny thing to include, not because, I'm looking for every tie to the game, but that's how they introduced this mercenary character. She's selling her service to, accomplish this task when the only motive in the games is finding treasure, basically, or power.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't know too much about that, being a Borderlands noob. So maybe that's what it takes to enjoy this movie? I don't know.
The lack of Borderland DNA in this movie is not the problem. I can tell you that.
I found a lot of this movie to be very funny, which is funny in itself because I don't like funny movies, and I wouldn't exactly call this a funny movie, but maybe my 11-year-old boy mind really connected with this film. I give it all to Claptrap. I loved the little robot dude. I didn't know he was voiced by Jack Black until
after.
Oh. Yeah. So that made me love him even more. And I like the interaction Claptrap has with Lilith. It almost gave me this Rush Hour vibe, this buddy cop vibe where she's forced to have this partner that she doesn't like but kind of needs. But I just hated that we didn't have like a moment where she finally learned to love him. But I was here for the humor. I was here for the cast. Didn't like what we really did with them.
Yeah, who was casted in this film, Kevin Hart, Cate Blanchett, is probably the most bizarre thing about this film. From look and caliber of actor.
Yeah, I was excited for it when it was announced, mainly because it gave me Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle vibes, where we have this also bizarre cast like The Rock, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, the girl. And then even in the second one, the sequel, we have Nick Jonas. Like, what the fuck is going on? And although those aren't my favorite movies, I like them. I have an enjoyable time watching them. So I thought I would have similar vibes with this cast. And I didn't. And I think there's a reason why. And that's because I thought we were getting this ensemble cast and getting this kind of teamwork theme, but we didn't. We focused a little bit too much on Cate Blanchett's character, Lilith, and she was probably the worst character to focus on.
But she's this fundamental entity in the Borderlands universe. She's a siren.
I don't care what she is. Is that why she had the bad wig?
That's why she had the tattoos.
Ah, okay.
The bad wig is her own doing. Because I think Maya, a different siren, has blue hair. I guess maybe the colored hair is a siren thing.
Yeah, sure. And this being a video game movie, of course you have to look at the action and the movement. And I wasn't sold on that. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. It felt a little bit too choppy, maybe. We didn't focus enough on the actual action, which I'm sad because there was some potential. There were some really cool scenes where people were shooting each other, and there was so much potential to make them either super action-packed or video game-like, which we did neither.
Yeah, I don't know why the action was so bad. And the editing was so bad that I'm not sure how bad the action actually was. Like, I'm not sure if it was a post-production kind of problem. Because I also know there were a lot of reshoots, so I'm wondering how much of this was spliced together with a gambit of shit.
Mm.
And it shows. It definitely shows. The
Yes.
action, it's hard to say something is worse than another in this movie because it's all so bad, but the action's up there. Before I forget, I wanted to point out that when I first saw this movie was coming to theaters and saw the weird cast, I was like, oh, okay, this is just weird enough. And I'm like, sort of here for it. They're old. Okay, I can maybe get past that. Roland's a small guy when he's supposed to be, 6.5 feet tall. That's fine. Whatever. It's funny, I guess. I thought Dungeons and Dragons, the new, I think it was called Honor Among Thieves, which was a big surprise, right? But that's more of like what you're speaking to, and it being this ensemble and this kind of banter between all the characters and all the directions. Right. And again, like you said, Lilith Cate Blanchett's character was front and center, I guess because of the siren thing. I don't know how that is what they pulled out of Borderlands and were like, that's what we're going to make a movie about. When the teamwork thing and the humor, I like that you pointed that out actually, because it is supposed to be funny.
I had a great time.
Those are a couple of the fundamental reasons people love Borderlands, is this 4-person co-op thing that is just sitting down with the boys, playing a few hours of this game, shooting shit. And it has a similar kind of humor to Fallout. It's different, but it's similar, I think. With every character and action you take. You got psychos coming at you, yelling at you, saying crazy stuff. You saw a little bit of that with Craig. Or Krieg, whatever his name is. He would just say random stuff.
Yeah.
That's everywhere in Borderlands, and if you listen to the internet actually doesn't even like the games because it's so cringe. Sounds like you might like the Borderlands humor, though, when you play the games. Because this wasn't that far off, I will say.
Yeah, the Dungeons & Dragons is actually a really good pool because they managed to do that ensemble cast thing really well while still giving us a slight focus on Chris Pine's character, Edwin, or whatever his name was, but giving us the charm of the others, which maybe they should have taken something from that. Because I wasn't sold on the so what of the film. The themes were a bit shallow, to the point that I couldn't quite tell what I was supposed to be getting from this movie. Something about friendships, family, destiny?
Yeah, I think the destiny thing is the winner there.
I liked the world. I liked a lot of the sets, the props, and even the characters, how they looked. Even though Lilith's wig was kind of weird, I had a lot of fun with that. I'm big on giving a movie extra points for not only making me feel something, especially making me cry or making me scared, but also on how the movie looks and the world building, the texture to where everything is happening. Especially if it's fun, like the 2019 Aladdin, or like the 2023 Wonka film, the most recent Guardians of the Galaxy film that completely made me bawl, and every time I watch it still makes me bawl. So there was something in this film that gave me that I really enjoyed. And then we had that ending that I don't know what that was about. If that was tied to the video games, it completely went over my head.
So the end is a mess, obviously. There are no ties to any games within that end. But I can speak to the inspiration behind Atlas. There's this character known as Handsome Jack in the Borderlands universe, and he is looked at as the pride and joy of the franchise. People love this bad guy, sort of. He's a corporate overlord bad guy kind of thing.
Still a bad guy.
And he tries to kill you, so he's your bad guy,
Definitely
at least.
Bad guy.
He's cool and all. I've never understood the love for him. He is not special, but he obviously went on to inspire Atlas through and through, even to the point where we would see this echo of Atlas having like this mask, this digital holographic mask. Handsome Jack also wore a mask-like thing, like the bad guy in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, similar to that. So I can see the development of it as far as the character.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that since none of our characters were very well developed, our villain wasn't very well developed.
Yeah, of course.
I have nothing against him except that he's trying to get Tiny Tina or anybody really to open the treasure.
I mean, he doesn't look that bad. Obviously, Tiny Tina is psychotic. Maybe she should be behind bars, like in the beginning. Atlas pays Lilith to do this job, and she goes against the contract. So he's trying to collect. I don't know if he's a bad guy.
That's true. That's true. He's trying to kill everybody, so that kind of makes you a bad guy, but they did sign a contract, you know? It's like similar to the new Beetlejuice. Was he a bad guy? Or did Lydia rip him off?
I'll tell you again, Beetlejuice is just looking for love. And Lydia needs to stop fucking playing around.
And because these characters are not the best written out characters, their relationship with each other is weird. Lilith's relationship to Mad Moxie was weird. I know they're supposed to be related somewhere, and the mom died, so Mad Moxie took care of her, and I don't know what else.
I don't know what's going on there either.
Yeah, okay. And then Tiny Tina kind of develops a relationship with Lilith throughout their whole journey, and then she kind of betrays them, but then she still loves her at the end. And then you have this whole entire drama with Tiny Tina thinking she's the chosen one and she's going to be the one that opens the vault treasure thing, but she doesn't, and it's actually Lilith. And we don't get much there, which I thought we would. I thought we would get a little bit of that kind of betrayal moment for Tiny Tina, because she is, like you said, a psychotic character. She's crazy. She would have that explosion on her not being the chosen one.
And I thought they might go down the path to try to canonize it, but speculation tells us that Krieg, whatever the big dude's name is actually Tiny Tina's dad. That would have made sense in the movie, actually, to have some kind of twist like that, where Atlas stole Tiny Tina, and then we find out that this big psycho dude is this little psycho's dad.
That would make sense, because in the beginning of the film, he rushes to her. And she addresses him. And he's like, oh, my little girl, or something. Like, there's this relationship between them. So that would definitely make sense. And speaking of Krieg, whatever his name is, he had so much potential to be one of my favorite characters. Because we could have gone like a Drax kind of way.
But even crazier.
And I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't. Because at the start of the film, he definitely had that for me. I was definitely rooting for him and Tiny Tina to have this something going on. Because she too was kind of a striking character to look at. I mean, she had her little cute bunny ears and her pink hair ends, mismatched shoes, this little cute band-aid on her nose. But we didn't really go anywhere.
With the characters dealt to us, we can almost see this semblance of family, and we could have surrounded that by the reveal that Krieg is Tiny Tina's dad, and we could have even had this funny moment when Tiny Tina finds out. We have this like really fast pan to Krieg doing something crazy and like saying some crazy thing, and it's like this really sweet moment that's complemented by, you know, what psychos do. That's what they're called, by the way.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
While also forcing Lilith to befriend a robot, an annoying robot, at the same time connecting with Tiny Tina and finding some kind of like daughter-like figure in her.
Yes. That's where I thought we were going.
It's kind of handed to us. And then Tanis, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, actually being some kind of sisterly mother kind of character to Lilith. There's kind of a family unit almost handed to us. And I can see a better movie here where we had this kind of banter between and during the combat scenes, and the action was just literally kind of a backdrop of like fulfilling, I guess, real character moments. I don't know how you would write around a consequential story in this universe, I guess, outside of dealing with a vault, which they tried.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I probably would have gone the route of this world being overrun by corporations, because we get a really brief moment of that, and I don't even know if this is a huge part of the games, but it doesn't need to be, because we kind of get some graphics in the beginning of the film when she's telling us about these Iridians or whatever they're called and the planet, and it was taken over by corporations, and now there's these like really bad guys, and it almost looks like Mad Max-ish. And I think that's what kind of hooked me, this whole premise. And the way it was being narrated, it was going for me. So maybe we could have taken more that route of what actually happened. And how these people, I don't know, are they humans?
Yeah. The psychos and whatnot, yeah, they're all human.
How they dealt with this. And how someone like Claptrap became the last of his kind. I know one thing that I was seeing on the internets is that people were upset that this film got a PG-13 rating because they wanted more violence. Is this a violent game?
Yeah, I mean, it's violent in the same way like Deadpool is. There's just a lot of body parts and blood going about, and it's in such a way that it's funny, right? It's over the top.
It's still a hella violent. Deadpool is super gory.
No, totally. And, Deadpool's rated R because of its violence and, a few cuss words here and there, right? And sexual things. Yeah, Borderlands is deeply violent.
I can see why people would be upset with that. Why didn't we make it an R-rated film? Is the game M or whatever the rating is for?
Yeah, it's M. And I can tell you why it's not rated R, because if we were going to take it to that next level, we would have to have somewhat better choreographed fight sections, better rigs, better effects. We were going to have a whole gambit of stuff to, make it more violent. And I guess that's just one of the sacrifices they ultimately made, because I can guarantee you an R rating was on the books for this originally, 25 years ago when they were first writing this. But they did probably think to themselves, well, R-rated movies typically don't do as well in the theater. And they were so far behind schedule, for lack of better words, I guess, that they just kind of stuck with the plan at some point. Because that was definitely an early-ish decision. It was like, all right, we're going to, I guess, go with PG-13 to maybe appeal to more people. And I have heard, I don't know how true this is, but I have heard that Eli Roth is terrible at fight sections, action sequences.
Oh, no.
So it's a little bit of an issue when you have someone like that at the head of a very violent franchise. But it does kind of open up the gate for something interesting, and that would have been that family story. This unlikely group of people, misfits kind of thing, coming together, forming their own family in the worst place in the universe. While the backdrop was violence. Of course, you're going to need very slick-looking violence when Craig uses his axe thingy to chop someone in half.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. We got to have slick-looking effects for that. Didn't happen.
Or when one of Tiny Tina's little teddy bear bombs,
when it goes off, there should be limbs flying everywhere.
Everybody getting dismembered, yes. And that's a funny thought that this R rating would have hurt the movie, because the Resident Evil films are some of my favorite video game movies, are probably massive successful.
Yeah, the Resident Evil movie franchise is wildly successful.
I used to go to bed watching those movies on repeat. But then you also have a movie like Mario that is not R-rated and made massive amounts of monies.
See, this is one of those things, though. You need to know your lane. You need to know your IP, right? You need to know that Mario is not this gangbanger selling mushrooms, finding princesses to do nasty things to. He's saving people. He's saving the princess. He's saving the Toadstool Kingdom. He's kicking Bowser's ass, right? He's a nice guy. It's rated E for everyone. But if you make a Witcher movie or TV show or something, you expect it to maybe be rated R, because he's cutting monsters in half. He is doing nasty things to the ladies. But also you need to know your lane. There is no world where a Borderlands movie is going to outperform a Mario movie, right? So we need to calibrate our expectations as producers and distributors, right? And filmmakers. And the best way to tap in to some of that success that Borderlands could potentially find is making sensible decisions with somewhat beloved characters. I don't know if anyone's favorite character in a game is Lilith or Roland. Maybe Claptrap. He's cool. He's like, him and Tiny Tina are probably the only likable characters out of the games, to be honest.
Yeah, because also, I don't know how much monster fighting there is in this game, but there were a few creatures in the movie that I very much liked that we just kind of panned over. Or in that scene where, I don't know where we're at, but Tiny Tina rolls the window down and they're like, roll that window up. She's like, why? Like, don't tell me what to do. And they all get sprayed. Don't know what kind of monster that was. Don't know if you see it in the games.
Yeah, funny enough, as bad as that scene was, we probably needed more of that in this movie for it to make any kind of Borderlands sense. No, the critters in Borderlands are awesome. A lot of the big bosses and stuff are like big critters, and the vault creatures that come out of the vault are always really big. There's raids or raid type things in Borderlands where you kill this massive thing with a party of people. But one very important thing about playing Borderlands games is when you're driving around in your cool little car, you're constantly hitting these animals and they're exploding in front of your car. And we don't really get any of that. That's a fundamental part of the experience.
That's awesome.
That you could easily put into a movie.
Yes. That sounds awesome. Why didn't we put that in this film?
That could have been where the violence played too. We didn't need to have a bunch of people shooting each other.
Yes. We could have had everyone shooting at the monsters. And monsters are such an easy thing for people to love. I wanted to see that big ass creature that she was sitting on towards the beginning of the film when she first met Claptrap. Well, let me re-say that. I guess she was sitting on the bones, not on a monster. And they were like huge. I thought that was going to come back into play. I thought we were going to see a creature this big somewhere down the line trying to take Tiny Tina, I don't know where. But I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get more creatures.
Well, you've been paying too much attention to setup in movies. Normally movies give you these little nuggets of what's to come, right? Especially movies like this, these Dungeons and Dragons sort of esque movies.
Right, because I think we have something similar in Fallout, where Lucy's kind of by the skeletons of a creature. And I don't know if we see that creature later. I think we do, but we have more creatures coming out of the creature. So maybe that's where my mind was at, having just seen that not too long ago. Because the cars looked cool.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised at some of the car effects. I was like, man, I'm here for this. And especially, I will say, the bus. Very big part of the original Borderlands. Getting off that bus, it's very magical. Meeting Marcus, he's a favored character. You don't play as him, you don't see him much. He sells you weapons and whatnot. The only part of this movie I liked was when Lilith was on the bus and Marcus was like, "So, Vault Hunter?" And she was like, "I'm not a Vault Hunter." And then he'd say something and be like, "Good luck, Vault Hunter." It's just like, it was this very video gamey thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of a wink and nod to, she is a Vault Hunter, you know, at least in the games, I guess. And is she retired? I'm not even sure if she's a retired Vault Hunter or not, but.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So, the weapons looked cool.
Yeah, totally.
I loved all the big looking guns. And I mentioned them earlier, but I love Tiny Tina's like bear. I love Tiny Tina's stuffed animal teddy bear bombs. Those were super cool. There were wanted posters that were moving around, kind of Harry Potter like. But a lot of the effects were cool. I don't have a favorite scene.
But you have multiple scenes you liked.
But I have multiple scenes I liked.
Wow. You might be the only one.
Dude, anything with Claptrap in it, I was here for it. I loved it when they first met. And she said something kind of snarky. And he was like, well, I'm programmed for humor. So I'm going to take that as witty banter when she just like told him off. And then maybe, you know what? Maybe that scene where he gets sacrificed when they need a distraction. That was pretty funny. I felt so bad for him that they send him off. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was a goner, but he wasn't. I'm glad. I just hate that we didn't have this, like, come together moment.
For anyone, yeah.
For anyone.
There were no character moments between each other. It's, I want to say a missed opportunity, but I don't know if the opportunity is really there. But I'm kind of seeing the potential between Tiny Tina and Craig, and then Lilith having that paternal thing, and Tannis, of course. I don't want to say there was potential, but there's a little bit of potential here.
There was potential. I'll say it. I don't feel bad saying it.
Okay, good.
There was potential. We just needed a better story than what we got to make it where the end was actually consequential, because this movie had no consequences. Even though we have this chosen one divine figure we had no consequences. And everything felt a little rushed.
All right, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed this movie. Someone needed to, but thank you for talking about it here today.
You're welcome.
Do you have a budget guess?
My budget guess is 50 mil. It wasn't super long, so I don't know what that means. But we also had these kind of big names, and I'm assuming a lot of CG. So I don't know. I was lost on this film.
Oh yeah, lots of CG here. It says here that it was between 110 and 120 million dollars.
What? There's not that much going on. Oh no.
I think that has to do a lot with the reshoots and the just production hell. I'm not sure exactly when this movie went into production, but I know it was before Tar, that Cate Blanchett film.
Oh, okay.
It was done before Tar even came out.
Oh.
So it's been a few years. I don't know why they didn't just take this out back and do away with it when the Netflixes and Disneys of the world are just writing off movies and shows, pretending they never happen. This was a great example of just letting that happen, but I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta let it go.
And it only went on to make about $31 million.
Ooh. Why?
Because it's garbage.
But how do people know it's garbage when they didn't give it a chance? Obviously, no one went to go give it a chance.
I mean, that's a fair point. And this is one of those examples, too, of something being dead before it even comes out. People were down and out on this way before it even came out.
That's so sad. That's so sad. That's so sad because I had a fun time watching this movie. It wasn't that bad for it to make 30 mil.
Well, if Furiosa's only going to make 170 million, this better be making nothing. That's all I'm saying. Furiosa deserves better.
They both deserve better.
Over on Letterboxd with 64,000 people. There's your folks right there. All the Letterboxd people went to the movie theater. They weighed in at a 1.6.
Ooh, is that the lowest I've ever heard? Oh, no.
It is down there.
That's so sad.
It's well deserved.
I mean, I'm not too far from them. I'm giving this a 2. I had fun watching it, but that's just because of the laughs and the world. There was absolutely nothing else. Not even any characters I really cared for besides the robot. That's not okay. I should be feeling something towards somebody. I should be caring a little more, but I didn't.
I could have seen a reality where this movie was through the eyes, completely through Claptrap's eyes, and we heard his inner thoughts. Anyone? Maybe?
Yeah.
And we get the world of Pandora and the Vault Hunters and them doing their thing, not in great context outside of what Claptrap's doing. So, you know, there might be a lot of stupid moments where Claptrap's like looking through the garbage or something, but it would have been better than this.
That's hilarious.
I'm definitely giving this movie a half star.
No, you take that back.
This is easily the worst movie of the year. Surprise, surprise. Everyone thinks so, except this one across from me.
I had a better time watching this movie than I saw the TV Glow. I had a better time watching this movie than Imaginary.
Oh, Imaginary was another bad one.
I didn't even finish If.
If was real bad.
So I'm just saying.
It's fair. Maybe there's a few contenders up there. The Razzie Awards are going to be stacked this year.
Oh, no.
I don't know if they still do those, but...
We should watch them if they do.
All right, man. Well, thank you again for talking about this movie here today, and thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Filmistines. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, we post every Monday and Friday with brand new episodes of the Filmistines on all of our free feeds, and every other Wednesday on patreon.com/Filmistines for Patreon-exclusive episodes, like our recent episode where we put the two Aladdins head-to-head.
Ding, ding, ding.
Who would win in a fight, Will Smith or Robin Williams? At their prime, of course. Probably Will Smith. Please go enjoy that, though. And our next free public episode will be on the 2016, I believe, Suicide Squad with Will Smith.
Ah.
Speaking of the devil. That's a bad one, I hear. I haven't seen it, but I have been told it's quite bad.
That's DC, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have fun with that.
Please look forward to that. That'll be a good time, though. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon as well. Come subscribe. Come request a movie on our Patreon. Any movie. Come request Titanic, maybe? Or A Night to Remember? But we appreciate all the support. Thank you guys very much. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/filmistines. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is The Filmistines, signing off.